What if I told you this isn't a football? At least not at first. The first time I looked at this image, I thought it was just another artistic drawing. A giant ball, random objects, random people, random chaos. But then I started noticing things. A warship, a giant brain, a video game controller connected to that brain by a wire, politicians, missiles, satellites, money, crowds, technology. And suddenly one question appeared. Why would all these things be trapped inside a single sphere? The more I looked, the stranger it becomes. Because nothing here appears random. Everything seems connected. The brain connects to the controller sits among technology sits beside money sits beside power sits beside conflict sits beside humanity. It's almost as if somebody took the entire modern world and compressed it into one giant ball. But before we talk about the ball, we need to talk about the brain because whoever designed this image wanted your eyes to find it. Not a trophy, not a football, a brain. And strangely enough, it isn't alone. Connected to it by a wire is a game controller, not inside the brain, connected to it. Almost like a question, who is controlling whom? Is technology shaping human thinking? Or are humans still controlling technology? Think about the world we are living in. Artificial intelligence is growing. Algorithms decide what we see. Social media decide what trends. Data influences decisions. Even football has changed. Teams now rely on advanced analytics, player tracking, performance metrics, artificial intelligence. The game is becoming smarter every year. And yet, that controller isn't the most interesting thing in this image because right above it sits something far more powerful. A giant clenched fist. Why place a fist above everything else? Historically, fist symbolizes power, resistance, determination, victory, sometimes protest, sometimes unity, sometimes conflict. And that brings us to the exact clue, the warship. Because once you notice the fist, you start noticing the ship cutting through waves near the top of the sphere. Suddenly, the image begins to feel less like sports and more like the world itself. Conflicts, military power, competition between nations, global tensions, the same tension that exists every day outside stadiums, which raises another question. Why would an image supposedly about football contain symbols of war? Maybe because football has never existed in isolation. Every World Cup reflects the world around it. Think about it. When nations compete, they are bringing their history, their culture, their pride, their hopes, their identity. The World Cup isn't just football, it's the entire world gathering around a single event. And that may explain why politicians appear inside this giant sphere. Look closely. You can see figures representing leadership and power. One even resembles Donald Trump. Again, why? Because whether people like it or not, politics influences almost everything. Economics, technology, media, global relationship. Yet once every 4 years, something extraordinary happens. Billions of people stop focusing on politics and start focusing on football. For 1 month, the world shares a common conversation, which brings us to the next clue, money. Dollar signs, financial symbols, economic imagery scattered throughout the sphere. Modern football is worth billions. Sponsorships, broadcasting rights, advertising, transfers, merchandise. The sport has become one of the largest industries on earth. But there's one thing money cannot buy, legacy. And this is where the image begins changing. Because until now, we've been talking about the world, not the person. But hidden among these symbols is evidence that this story may actually be about time. Look at the rockets, the satellites, the technology. Everything appears to be moving forward. Everything is accelerating. Humanity is advancing. The future is arriving faster than ever. And that creates a question nobody can escape. How much time is left? Every athlete eventually faces that question. Every career eventually reaches its final chapter. And once you realize that, you start noticing something strange. The people, hundreds of tiny people scattered throughout the sphere, different backgrounds, different roles, different lives, yet all trapped inside the same giant circle. Almost like the entire world has been compressed into a football. And if this sphere truly represents the world, then why is somebody kicking it? Most viewers miss it. I almost missed him too, near the bottom right corner. Tiny, almost hidden, easy to overlook. A football player outside the sphere, not inside it, outside it. And that changes everything, because suddenly the image is no longer about technology or politics or money or conflict or even humanity. Those things are merely the contents of the ball. The real question becomes, who is the player? Why is he outside the sphere? And why is he the only person affecting it? Look carefully. The jersey, the posture, the kicking motion, the silhouette, and then it hits you. That player appears to be Cristiano Ronaldo. Now the image transforms. The giant sphere becomes more than a football. It becomes the world Ronaldo has played in, the world that watched him, judged him, celebrated him, criticized him, followed him for more than 2 decades. The technology, the politics, the money, the pressure, the expectations, the billions of fans, everything is inside the ball, and Ronaldo is kicking it forward. Which raises one final question. Was this image accidentally predicting something? Because if the sphere represents the modern world and Ronaldo is a player moving it, then perhaps this isn't about his past. Perhaps it's about his future. A future that may lead to one final World Cup, one final opportunity, one final chapter, one final chance to win the only trophy missing from his collection. And here's what fascinates me. The artist could have placed Ronaldo in the center. They didn't. The artist could have made him the largest figure. They didn't. Instead, they hid him, almost as if they wanted viewers to discover him at the end. Almost as if the entire image was building toward a reveal. And maybe that's why this image feels so powerful, because it asks a question without answering it. Is Ronaldo simply kicking a football, or is he kicking the entire world toward one final destiny? Maybe it's coincidence. Maybe it's symbolism, or maybe we are looking at a prediction hidden in plain sight. So now I want to hear from you. Did you notice Ronaldo before the review? What do you think the brain and controller symbolize? Why do you think the warship appears inside the ball? And most importantly, do you believe Cristiano Ronaldo will finally win the World Cup before his career ends? Or does football have a different ending waiting for him? Comment below and let me know. Because after staring at this image for hours, I'm still not sure whether it's artwork or a message. Subscribe, share this message, and expect another.